Everybody knows about Rohamna battles against French soldiers and their bravery to fight for the freedom of our country. This dire bravery led them to troubles with lots of neighboring tribes and even with the authorities of that time. Every one of you must have heard of different stories of battles, quarrels, fights, and problems which they have encountered at that time. Hamna has a very hidden history as researchers haven't really produced too much about it in books. There are only few books small in length which tell about this hidden history of our land. Lots of these books, chapters, historic papers are also far to reach or have been lost somewhere. There are lots of books about Hamna history in French, but you need to travel to the other side of the planet to get them, and sometimes people can't even get access to them. Looking for a book about the history of our land will really look like looking for a needle in a haystack. Anyway, this won't hinder people who are interested in knowing a lot about this history, and the folk tales of Rahmani peasants and villages can help a lot. Though these tales differ from one mouth to another in content, tone, dates, and origins, they keep passing them down from one generation to another in an attempt to resurrect the history of our ancestors and keep it alive. Today I'm glad to show you one of the historical sites in Rohamna, which is called Dar Salah bin Samwan, the house of Salah bin Samwan, the first man to build this house. His name was Salah. This house dates back to more than 150 years. It's one of the houses which is known by villagers and tribes here. The family of Salah bin Samwan lived here a long time ago together with the group of villagers who used to build their houses around the house of Sheikh, an authority man employed by Qiyada to help enforce the law. All the houses which were built around this house are just rambles now. Historic sites tell present generations how their ancestors lived, how their civilizations were organized. This allows them to immerse themselves in the cultural heritage through the stories which these sites tell. It also helps to strengthen the bonds of unity. If a community is crossed by internal disputes, historical sites common to this community is a landmark that tells them that they are the descendants of the same ancestors of the same history. This reminder therefore makes it possible to facilitate reconciliation. Historic sites therefore also have an educational function. They play the role of remnants of the traces of our history. Lately, Hamna historical sites attract many historians and anthropologists who have come for research, and more than 44 historical sites in Hamna were discovered. Some of the researchers said that these sites date back to 1 million years, and this is really a very long period of time. The heritage of a place is what sets it apart from all other places. Preserving places saves the culture of the people who came before. Preserving cultural historical sites has benefits realized over time and not immediate returns. Property developers tend to operate on short-term investment gains. Community development invests in longer-term successes. Keeping old stuff around reflects a time long ago and reminds us of how people and things were different in the past. Historic preservation is a sign of respect. Culture is a matter of pride. Unique historical and cultural sites give places a sense of identity. Cultural and historical sites and buildings are interesting places that promote tourism. Cultural and historical sites have two big things going for them. One is a place of interest to tourists, the other is the special interest to local people. Cultural and historical sites support jobs like historians, civil engineers, tour guides, hotel staff, transport drivers, and restaurants. Cultural and historical sites have also social advantages as a matter of pride for their local community. Historical heritage helps us to examine our history and traditions and enable us to develop awareness about ourselves. It helps us understand and explain why we are the way we are. It's a keystone of our culture that plays an important role in our politics, society, business, and worldview. They have an intrinsic value and provide a sneak peek into our ancient heritage. They give a deeper insight into the cultures and traditions of the old world. We come to know the quality of life people enjoyed hundreds of years ago. Monuments endow us with the details about the variety and quality of materials used in making them in the past days. They provide a detailed idea about the craftsmanship and mining. We recognize the architectural intelligence of people in the past that compiled huge structures in a period when there was no technology. With historical heritage, it becomes easy to analyze the history of the place by viewing its historical monuments. They increase the significance of the site, and people from far-off land also came to visit them and increase the incoming of foreign currency to a country by foreign visitors. They help in educating and imparting every bit and pieces of information of the past and make things more interesting. They assist in providing the details of entertainment and educational value of the place. Some historical monuments with inscription provide us the detail about the past language and their mode of communication. Monuments maintain a sense of permanency and heritage of the place and make it more valuable for the country. It helps us to emotionally connect with our cultural roots and traditions. Monuments serve as a symbol of cultural identity and provide guidance for coming generations. Monuments serve as a reminder of a rich cultural past, as well as a national treasure and a source of civilization pride. They educate foreign tourists about the historical splendor of that culture in addition to inspiring the locals about their own past as they are visited by tourists across the globe. Historical places give glorified pictures of the country. They really give a vivid idea about the religious and political status of the people who live there.